What's up YouTube, Day here from Zephyr Wargames, bringing you, as you can see before you, a anti-meta stun deck. Now, what I mean by anti-meta stun deck is it uses the abilities of stuff like Inspector Border to make it pretty much hand trap immune for a turn or two, and then you draw into your cards playing Pot of Duality, Card of Demise, Pot of Desires and stuff like that, get into a lot of back row and then dealing with your opponent that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the deck. There's a couple of different variations you can play this deck, which is very, very interesting to see. So I'll take you through the profile, show you what we got, and I'll tell you about the alternatives as we go. So, start off with triple Inspector Border. This is kind of like the card that's given this deck a resurgence, as well as obviously getting stuff back like Bottomless Trap Pole, Torrential Tribute, and of course Thunderkin Ryo back to 3. Now, with Inspector Border, it kind of combos off nicely with Amanarato. So Amanarato is the Spirit 1900 attack that when you normal summon it, or while it's on the field, other cards can't activate their effects, or other monster cards. But because it's a Spirit, it bounces back during the end phase. So on the plus side with Amanarato, you can normal summon it whenever. However, with Inspector Border, you have to control no monsters to normal or special it, but he stays on the board and is a 2k defender and attacker, so he does give you a bit more board presence in that sense. Triple Fossil Dino. Now obviously this is a nice kind of card because if you do have to go second, it's a nice card that can kind of reset your opponent's board in that sense, but it's also a nice card going first. It's like its own Vanity's emptiness, and again Vanity's emptiness in this deck would be crazy right now. Now the next 4 monsters that I play, or the 2 monsters that I play, is because I'm stuck between either ors. So I play 2 Banisher of the Radiance and 2 Thunderkin Ryo. Now, if you wanted to play 3 Thunderkin Ryo, then obviously you take out a Banisher of Radiance and take out the other one as well, and put more options in for you. The reason I like Banisher of Radiance is because this can actually be a very, very painful anti-meta card that can deal with a lot of your opponent's things. Because it's any card sent to graveyard is banished instead, it can really, really hurt your opponent and slow them down massively. And of course, Thunderkin Ryo means your opponent can't search, so they both have their big pluses. If you wanted to bump these 2 up to 3, you could drop these down as you wanted to. It's whatever ratio you kind of think works for you. This ratio kind of works nicely for me because you don't want a too heavy monster account because you're playing cards like, because you're playing Card of Demise and stuff like that. On top of this, you can play a Trap Tricks engine. Now, if you were going for the Trap Tricks engine, I'd probably play more Floodgate Trap Hole, Bottomless Trap Hole, and then you have the ability to go into Trap Tricks Rafflesia in the extra deck, which I think is one of the best XYZs. Especially one of the nicest looking XYZs we have. Regardless, this is kind of your standard monster lineup of 10 monsters. You don't really want too much more because you pretty much use about, I think it's about 15 traps and 15 spells, give or take. And then you use spells and traps to keep these guys alive longer, and they just really, really hurt your opponent. Not being able to activate effects hurts. Not being able to special summon, everything banished, not being able to search. You've pretty much got all areas covered in monster form. So that's it for the monster lineup. Now onto the spells. We play triple Card of Demise, which has become easily accessible because of the legendary Kyber sets. We play triple Pot of Duality, and we play double Pot of Desires. Now these obviously are a kind of a standard staple 8 in any kind of decks like this. We're then maining 2 Called by the Grave. Now the reason we're maining 2 Called by the Grave is because if we don't open up with our Inspector Border, at least I've got this to stop any hand traps that's going to slow me down. Ideally, you want this in the ability to kind of go, cool, activate this, you can't then, your opponent can't ash you for the rest of the turn, and you kind of allow yourself to go off with these, and that in turn is pretty much your win con. You play these, go into your back row, and then that's how you win in the game. And then following up for the spells, double Moon Mirror Shield, because A, you can pitch it off of Card of Demise and it's not that big of a deal because you can recycle it, and then B, it just helps you get over any kind of beast monsters your opponent might have, which is very, very helpful and powerful. And then of course it makes your monsters that aren't exactly the strongest in the game, as in attack and defense wise, but they make them even more stronger. So again, we've got 14 spells there, so it means we've got 16 traps coming up that can be very, very helpful. So we play triple Phantom Knight Sword. This combos off nicely with Phantom Knight Wings, just to protect your other monsters. So obviously you want to be protecting your Banisher of Radiance, your Thunderkin Ryo, your Inspector Border, and of course your Fossil Dino. These are kind of the best traps to use in that scenario. The biggest weakness of this deck is it has to go first. It does have turn 2 plays, but the consistency significantly drops when doing so, purely because your opponent's going to be dealing with a lot of your back row. So if you lose the dice roll, you need to see if you can sustain the game and maybe come back in the game without your opponent figuring out what you're playing, because I think they're going to be counter-siding for you once they know what you're playing. So if they go and do so, you need to then counter-side for their sides. Now they're going to be putting stuff like evenly matched, twin twisters, cosmic cyclones. So you need to be able to put in cards that kind of stop those. So like lanciers, imperial iron walls, kind of stuff like that. Continuing on our tracks, we play triple stormy mirror force. Now, because of the next track that we play is triple torrential tribute, you can combo off this nicely with drowning mirror force instead of storming mirror force. The only reason I prefer storming is because it will always be live, whereas drowning can be a bit more of a pain. Now I've chosen torrential tributes over bottomless trap holes. Now the reason I've done that is because torrential tribute can be will always be live. If I you look at Pendulum Magicians at this moment in time, which is probably the main meta deck, and they do. They get to a link monster without normal in or pendulum in sometimes. So what you then know that they're then going to go, okay, cool, I'm then going to normal summon this guy, excellent, keep going, I'm then going to pendulum summon this amount, and then you just go, bang, torrential tribute, you clear their entire board, whereas bottomless trap hole really only stops them later on. It's entirely down to you of what you would like to choose between the two. I quite like Torrential Tribute as a nice alternative because we don't play Dark Hole or Rigeki, so Torrential Tribute is a nice little board wipe. And then we play the Solemn Brigade of triple strikes, 1 warning, and the 1 judgment. Waiting on that ulti judgment in OTS 7. Again, they're pretty much straightforward and staples. You stop your opponent playing. Judgment is probably one of your main. One of your only main deck outs to evenly matched, and then when you get to the side deck, that's where you kind of work around it a little bit more. When it comes to the side deck, obviously what you'll be looking for is you'll be putting in stuff like I said, lanciers, anything that kind of stops your opponent activating evenly matched, and working it that way. The best thing about this deck is the extra deck is so open, you don't have to play anything in particular. Because of the ratios of our cards, we do play a lot of rank 4s, but you can easily side in cherry targets and go ham with your cherry targets. So just as kind of ideas to put in the extra deck, these aren't staples for you, but you play like a rank 4 engine, so you've got your Utopia and then you've got your Lightning. You can put in Utopia Prime if you want to as another step up to get a full powered Lightning. Your number 41 Baguska, straightforward on that one. Your Abyss Dweller, your Castel. I like playing around with Crab King if I've got the space, but like I said, this can easily be a cherries target. Tornado Dragon. You very rarely go into links, but Underclock Taker could be a nice little option should you end up with a Banisher of Radiant and of course a Thundergun Row or anything like that. You could then link up into Underclock Taker to give you another option. The remaining cards in this deck can be like stuff like Gargoyle Cowboys, Diamond Direwolves, it can be another Tornado Dragon. They could be any rank 4 in the game that you want. You could even play a rank 3 if you really wanted to, but because the extra is so widely open, I would probably say, you know, chucking Utopia the Lightning, that's when you're going to go into the most. A Baguska for a bit of protection, your Abyss Dweller, your Tornado Dragon, and your Castel, and then the remaining 8 cards, I believe it is, 2, 4, 6, 9 cards, can be any of the cherry targets. So you've got your Morito, your Vortex, not that you'd go for those like directly, but you've also got your Borreload, you've got your Saruja, you've got your Ningrusu, kind of id play. You've also got your Heavy Metaphors Electromite. Like, the list is endless. You've got enough space to play around with your cherry targets if you want to. But you know, this is it. This is quite straightforward and simple. It's a nice little anti-meta stun deck that can cause your opponent a heck of a lot of issues. So I hope this helps. I hope this is giving an idea of a deck to kind of run and trial out. It'll be very, very nice to see this deck do well. It can cause your opponent some massive, massive issues. But I hope this has helped. I hope this has given you a couple of ideas. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling. Also, YouTube, thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. And of course, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button in the bottom left-hand corner and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. We've got more deck profiles, duels, pack openings, and many more Yu-Gi-Oh videos coming up for you all year round. So don't forget to stay tuned for all of that. Thanks, and as always, guys, happy dueling.